The funniest thing about Black Ops, that was the first time I did QA on a huge game with a massive release, and it was such a weird experience, right? Like, because after 14-hour, 16-hour days, you know, kind of working yourself to the bone, like, you're playing a game, but it's not really pleasure anymore, all right? It can't really be pleasure in that sense. It's work. But yeah, it was weird. It was weird. It was weird having finished it, and then get out, and then you sleep for like 2 days straight. And then I think I got invited to a comedy club somewhere in LA with some friends, and it was the weirdest thing. Like, I finished, like, once the comedy club show was over, like, one of the comedians was outside and he was talking to like some fan, and they were like, are you getting Black Ops? And he's like, yeah, I'm getting Black Ops. And I was like, oh, right. People play this game for fun. And then I was at the grocery store, and somebody was talking to like the you know, to the clerk, and they were talking about Black Ops, and they're like, it's out like now. And they're like, yeah, man, I'm going, that's the first thing I'm doing when I'm going home. And I'm like, again, I was like, oh yeah, people play this for fun. Because my head does not register Call of Duty Black Ops as fun, right? Like, that was probably one of the more grueling time-wise QA projects I'd been on, and it was just, and it was so weird because I was in the office when we actually released it, because I was working on the day one patch for the PC, and it was so weird that it's just like you kill yourself to make it, and then like you know, people who purchased it flood onto the servers. The floodgates are open, and the first thing is like the first like room that goes up is like pin 15 land or whatever, right? And you're like, wow, that's a weird feeling, but I worked so hard for so long, so this guy could make the first like server room and call it penis land. And you're like, it's like, okay, everybody go home now. And it's like, okay. And then you just kind of go home, and you're like, and you're just like, And then, I don't know. Before Activision called me off, I was off to Atlas next after that. I mean, you know what? You're making something so that people can enjoy it in the way that they enjoy it, right? And so it was like, it's just kind of like, it was just a weird feeling. Like, I don't necessarily think it was bad or anything, right? But it was just kind of like, these were literally my days. So at that time, without traffic, I was an hour commute away from the Activision office, right? But so in Los Angeles early morning traffic, it was about it could potentially be up to a 2.5 hour commute to get there, right? And that literally meant, if you have a 16-hour day, like, or just any of the long days, like, basically my days were like, I would sleep 3 hours at home, wake up, drive before the traffic, sleep, and then I was trying to find some place to sleep where I wouldn't be interrupted, right? The Activision garage didn't work because, in the Activision garage, well, it was the particular garage for the towers that they're in. Pacific Coast Towers is the name of where that was. I think they're still there. Nexon is in the same building complex too. The cars rumble and shake the garage, and that would keep me awake. And also, I was like in like a sleep apnea state where I felt like I heard somebody walk up to the car and like look in to see somebody sleeping in there and then walk away. And I was like, it was probably fine, but I was like, I would have liked to see who that was, right? And I was like, okay, let's not sleep in the garage anymore. But if you go up the street where it was closer to the freeway and closer to the LAX airport, that's where the Square Enix building is. And then there's a space where there's like some hotels and this kind of hard to get to street right there where nobody ever enters from, and that was a better place to sleep. So what I would do was I would sleep 3 hours at home, drive out before traffic, and then sleep as long as I could in my car before going down the street and then going into work, because I mean, I just fell into that job. But honestly, you know, like, Black Ops is a good game. So I don't feel too upset about it, really. But that was pretty grueling. Before that was Tony Hawk's Shred, which was just pure comedy. Seeing Tony Hawk's face every day. This is new technology of our blah 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 skateboard. Let's speed up the pace of this. Yeah. Pin Island. Yeah, you know, Pin Island, where they go like Pin 15 land or whatever. I didn't work on MapleStory when I was at Nexon. That was the one Nexon game I didn't touch, actually. MapleStory is so... Yeah. I mean... I could walk over to MapleStory. I sat in the MapleStory area. I got yelled at by the MapleStory boss when she was on my project. Most of my time was spent on Combat Arms and Smash and Grab, which didn't release, and the Cliffy B game. No, wait, I didn't work on that. No, I didn't work on that. I sampled early alphas of Lawbreakers. It wasn't called Lawbreakers yet. I forget what it was called when it was in tests and what. I got yelled at. Yeah, she was, I guess, yeah, so, I guess I'll tell that story of, when I got, so Nexon, I got hired at Nexon after I finished left the QA outsource company I've been working at, where that's another story, where I got to be a QA lead there, which was good for experience, but bad pay for leading a team of 20 people and across 3 different projects. Anyway, that's a different story. Nexon, when I got hired on Nexon, they were in the middle of like a big change, right? Of a big how much can I say and how much can't I say? I'm not sure. But company morale and the way the company was structured was clearly in need of revision and upgrade. And you know, and I always say that big change only comes once a company's financials start to be affected. So you could probably put that together, right? And so there was a lot of people hired on high end of things and on the low end of things where I came on it. And so I came on as a QA tester for Combat Arms. If I increase this number, is this faster? Which was I think it was a pretty popular FPS. In certain territories of the world, right? And but within my first week there, to show you how like it was kind of disorganized, and some kind of bug went out that essentially cost like a couple thousands of dollars in potential free-to-play revenue. And so basically, but it was a bug for something that the QA team never saw, was never able to test, and I'd been through like 5 QA jobs at that point. So, but like the manager lady came and grabbed me and the other dedicated tester for that game, sat us in a room, well, because while the other longtime tester there was away, and just kind of started going off on us about like, why wasn't this found? Why did you mess up? What happened? Like, and she was just having like a screaming fit meltdown. This was like my first or second week there, or just really early, right? And I just this was my 4th or 5th QA job at this point, and I was used to people kind of having meltdowns. And you know, while she just freaked out, like the guy next to me was pretty scared, but I just told her, I was like, look, we never received that thing that didn't get tested. Our job is to QA test, but we can't QA test things that we don't get, and we can't QA test things we don't know exist at all, right? Like, so that's kind of the extent of what we could do. And then like she was like, she kind of stopped because she was like, how do I yell at that? I think she just kind of was used to people cowarding and freaking out and being worried about their jobs. And at that point, I just go get another QA job for more peanuts and bananas. Like, that wasn't hard. I had enough experience. I voluntarily left my last one, right? And she was like, oh. And then she was just like, well, don't do it again. And then she stormed out, probably because somebody above her was yelling at her, right? And she avoided me for the next 3 weeks. It was kind of weird. Around the office, like she would see me down the hallway and she would duck out the way. Well, yeah, later she got moved to like a different game, and then they brought in like the new higher ups brought in like coaching for management coaching, and she tried to change substantially. Like I was like there was a point she was having an ice cream party, and she was like everybody had ice cream. This is when she was now on the MapleStory team, right? And everybody was having an ice cream party. And she was like, okay, ice cream for everybody. And she's like, we're taking a break now. Go socialize. I quote, socialize, right? And like the team all looked at each other and they were like, one guy was like, Josh, isn't this kind of awkward? And I was like, look, if you knew how she was, right? Like before this, she's trying really, really, really hard, and I'm really proud of her because this is substantial improvement. But I don't know. By the time I left, yeah, because I was let go after about 1.5 years, I think. Okay, I made that too fast. And you know, we were cool. She wasn't somebody you would go out of your way to see. Hopefully, she's like nice elsewhere now, but yeah, I think she went to work outside of the country after that. But yeah, it while I was there, it became a very cool place to work during that period of time. And then I guess the new higher ups weren't meeting the financial returns they wanted, and people started getting let go. All the new people brought in started to get let go. And it just kind of started to go back to how it was when I first showed up. And so by the time they let me go, I was like, okay, sure. And I had another job in like a week, because that's one thing about like a lot of these. I mean, I don't know once you get into like more specialized positions, but like it's never hard to find. It wasn't hard for me to find another QA job. I could have one within a week or two, depending on how picky I wanted to be, and it was generally like a little bit better. But yeah, and we even had people there was kind of cool who were QA. You tend to get treated like second-class citizens fairly often, but there are people there who really tried to do their best to kind of reach out and make you feel included, which was cool. I had a really cool manager when I was on the game that didn't get released, and once she realized like I knew about Unity and the company we were working with knew Unity, she started bringing me into like the meetings that she was having with them, because she was kind of like a production manager, because like I was able to identify that the team didn't have a network programmer despite making an online game. And I was like, I taught like some of the things they were saying, and then I told her like after the meeting, it's like, I don't think they have anybody who knows how to program the net play. I may be wrong, and I'm only so experienced, but... And they were like, yeah, we don't. And so, like, it was cool. So I got, like, some pretty good experience there. I mean, sure, there's plenty of bad stories, but, like, I learned good things, and there were a lot of good people, and there was a lot of fun times. And there's another depressing one. Okay, 5 is still too slow. Where it was, since you're contract employees, as QA testers at most places, you don't get holiday pay. So when they're like... all right, everybody, Christmas break, 2 weeks off. You know, most of the office is like, yay. And then the QA testers are like, why does sad Undertale music start playing? The QA testers are like, need to get some holiday work if I'm gonna make bills, right? Gotta go find a Toys R Us to part-time at. Well, Toys R Us was still a thing then, right? But or something like that. What happened to me when I was at Nexon was, during our holiday party, HR gave out gift cards for particular, I guess kind of spirit awards for people in the office, which was a nice gesture. And I won a award at the holiday party for, I guess, being a positive person in the office and being good for morale. I forget what it was called, which is nice. The sad part of that gift card I got was it was the equivalent of 2 weeks pay. if there wasn't a Christmas break. So I was like, awesome, a gift card for being you know, an uplifting part of the company. That's great that it's making up for not being paid for the vacation time I have to take. Well, I guess that's better than not getting anything during that. But yeah, unlike a lot of, like, you hear a lot of complaints about QA and long hours and all that in game industry, and like, while that's not good, right? I probably work myself harder now, between deving and multiple games, I guess, at this point, and then consistently streaming and then still doing delivery work too, right? But oh, it needs to be a smaller amount. They're changing slowly. But yeah, I never felt like there wasn't really a point where if I didn't put an effort in, I couldn't go find a job that would treat me better. But I don't know, after about one company or two companies, I was like, I want to kind of learn how games work, and I want to learn to make games, and then I'll treat these as learning experiences. And I was usually in like all the public network folders and stuff like that, like picking at stuff and just always trying to see how a game company was constructed and all that. So, oh, that's a change over 5 seconds in there. But like, dang. And in fact, it's starting to flood my head how many QA stories I really do have. Wow. I'll tell you though, the nicest place to work at, really, or like there were some places that were pretty nice. Atlas is really nice. Atlas, you got paid the least, and you had optional overtime every day because RPGs take a long time. And the optional overtime made up for your minimum wage. So you kind of worked a lot of long hours there. But since the company was so small and everybody was just a little bit of a walk away, and it was mostly focused on translation, and most people were passionate, like it was a nice place to work. There was drama among the QA testers, but it's drama that happens when you take a lot of young people, pay them minimum wage, and have them spend 12 hours a day together, right? And eventually there's going to be some kind of a drama. But like, that was pretty cool. And then the other place I had, and I worked on really good games there too. Elaborate on the drama. Well, the thing is, telling some of these stories, it's like, I don't want to like name names, but it's just kind of like, I'll put it kind of this way. And this kind of goes for a lot of the different companies, because other places weren't without their drama. You have these young people who are all nerds, entering into a space where it's like, entering into a space where it's like close socialization. How can I say this without just like without just trashing on people? It's like, you know, it's like I'm sitting next to a girl who likes all the same JRPGs I liked growing up playing, and that's what the other guy on the other side is thinking too. And that should just give you an idea of how the ingredients work. And then the girl in the center, whether she's a good or bad person, either way, she's a nerd too, so she's not used to handling this much attention. And that just, it never works out very well. In fact, one company, and I'm gonna be more ambiguous about this kind of stuff, I would sit down, there ended up being so much drama there. Like, I would sit down at my desk. Before I could I would turn on Skype, because that was like what we would use to communicate in the office. Before I could even get my emails open to see my tasks for the day, other people would message me about drama that happened overnight from the day before, as if like I was some arbiter of, like, I became like emotional management for like large, just like swaths of people. And then I was always at like the center of this drama, despite not causing any of it, because everybody involved in it was always like talking to me. And then I would just start like, you know what? I think I want to go for a long walk to the other side of the city for my lunch break. With my phone off. Because it's just like, God, man. I just want to play some Smash Brothers or Street Fighter for a lunch break. Like, please, everybody. And so oftentimes when I did leave a company or got let go at a company, you were letting go of a lot of that stuff too. And then you were just kind of, so like it was never like, it was never a sad thing, really. It was like, because you're always being underpaid. Usually you're being underpaid or overworked, or there was a bunch of drama of some sort, and the morale in the office had gotten pretty bad. And so when I had to leave or when I was let go, it was always like, I was always kind of happy. And then I only found a job that was better each time.